Yuna opened her eyes. Everything was white and cold. Her head hurt like someone had smashed it with a hammer. She tried to move, but her arms and legs would not listen. Thick metal straps held her down on a table. Where was she? What happened? She remembered the mission. Earth had sent 5 ships to meet the aliens, the Velthri. They said they wanted peace. They lied. The memory came back sharp and painful. The Velthri ships had opened fire without warning. Yuna watched her crew die. She watched the diplomatic ships explode into fire and metal. She was the only one they kept alive. A face appeared above her. Not human. The skin looked like dark green leather. Yellow eyes with no emotion stared down at her. The mouth moved and made clicking sounds. Then she heard words in her head. The aliens must have some kind of translator. "The procedure is complete," the alien said. Its voice was flat and cold. "Subject memory erasure successful. Begin conditioning protocols." Yuna's heart pounded. They tried to erase her memory. They wanted to make her forget everything, her name, her planet, her mission. They wanted to turn her into a slave. But something felt wrong. She remembered everything. Earth, her training, the attack, her crew dying. She remembered all of it with perfect clarity. In fact, she could remember details she had forgotten before. Every face, every word, every tactical briefing from the past 10 years. The memory wipe had failed. But they did not know that. Yuna forced her face to stay blank. She made her eyes look confused and empty. The alien scientist made more clicking sounds to others in the room. She could see 3 more of them now. They wore black suits that looked like armor. They carried weapons on their belts. "Begin mobility tests," one of them said. The straps released. Yuna let her arms fall limp. She acted like a broken doll. Inside, her mind was racing. She needed information. She needed to understand where she was and how to escape. They made her stand. She pretended to stumble. They made her walk. She acted clumsy and slow. All the while, she watched everything. The room had 1 door. 2 guards stood outside. The aliens carried energy weapons. The control panel on the wall had symbols she did not recognize yet. For 3 weeks, Yuna played her role. She acted like her mind was empty. She followed simple commands. She ate the strange food they gave her. She slept in a small cell with white walls. But every second, she was learning. The ship had a name, Oblivion's Edge. She learned it from the guards who spoke around her like she was furniture. The Velthri thought memory-wiped slaves could not understand language anymore. They were wrong about humans. She learned their language by listening. The sounds started to make sense. The symbols on the walls became readable. She found out she was on a research ship. The Velthri had conquered 47 star systems. They took the smartest people from each species. They erased their memories. They turned them into workers and soldiers. Yuna discovered something worse. The Velthri had already done this to 12 other species. Peaceful people who trusted them. Advanced civilizations reduced to mindless slaves. The Velthri were not just conquerors. They were erasers of history and culture. One day, she found herself alone in a room with a computer terminal. The guard had stepped out for a moment. Yuna's fingers moved fast. She had watched them enter codes for weeks. She copied files, ship locations, military bases, slave colonies, the coordinates of the Velthri homeworld. Everything downloaded to a small data chip she had stolen from a technician's pocket 2 days ago. She also found something interesting in the ship's systems, a way to create a virus, something that would spread slowly through their network, something they would not notice until it was too late. She planted it deep in the code and set it to activate in 6 months. The moment came on her 23rd day of captivity. They were moving her to another section of the ship. 2 guards walked with her through a corridor. They did not bind her hands. Why would they? She was just an empty slave. Yuna struck fast. Her elbow smashed into the first guard's throat. He made a choking sound and fell. She grabbed his weapon before he hit the ground. The second guard reached for his gun. She shot him first. The energy blast left a burning hole in his chest. Alarms screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed. Yuna ran. She knew the ship layout from her weeks of observation. Left turn, right turn, down 3 levels. She shot 4 more guards. Her enhanced memory tracked every corner and corridor perfectly. Her tactical training came back like she had never stopped using it. The hangar was ahead. She could see small ships docked there. Guards poured in from both sides. Yuna dove behind a cargo container. Energy blasts burned the air around her. She returned fire. 2 guards fell. 3 more. She moved like water, always flowing, never staying still. A Vel 3 officer shouted orders. More guards arrived. Yuna counted them. 15, 20, 30, too many. But she had one advantage. She understood their tactics now. She knew how they thought. She shot the fuel line above their heads. The explosion threw guards in every direction. In the chaos, Yuna sprinted to a scout ship. The door opened with a code she had memorized. She jumped inside. The controls looked alien, but she had studied them through windows for weeks. Her hands found the right buttons. The engine roared to life. Energy blasts hit the hull as she lifted off. The hangar doors were closing. She pushed the throttle forward. The scout ship shot through the gap with seconds to spare. Space opened around her, black and full of stars. Behind her, Oblivion's edge grew smaller. Yuna set course for the nearest free system. She touched the data chip in her pocket. The Vel 3 had tried to erase her. They failed. Now she had their secrets. She knew their locations. She knew their methods. And in 6 months, her virus would start destroying their fleet coordination. Yuna allowed herself a cold smile. The war had just begun. But this time, she would be the one doing the erasing. 6 months passed like shadows in the dark. Yuna had become a ghost. She moved through Vel 3 space without leaving traces. She learned to fly their ships perfectly. She learned to hack their systems. She learned to speak their language like she was born to it. Her enhanced memory absorbed everything. The stolen scout ship took her to 12 different systems. She watched. She learned. She planned. The Vel 3 Empire was huge, but it had cracks. Slave facilities on remote planets, supply lines that stretched too far, commanders who grew lazy from too many easy victories. Now Yuna stood outside a facility on a world called Kithra 9. The planet was a mining operation. Thousands of memory-wiped slaves worked in the tunnels below the surface. The facility above ground processed new captures. Inside those walls, people forgot who they were every single day. Yuna wore a stolen Vel 3 uniform. She had killed the original owner 3 days ago. The uniform fit poorly, but the guards at the gate barely looked at her. She walked inside like she belonged there. The processing center smelled like chemicals and fear. Yuna moved through corridors filled with cages, humans, aliens she did not recognize, all of them with empty eyes, waiting for the machines that would steal their minds. She found the medical wing. Inside, a young woman lay strapped to a table. Human, dark hair, maybe 25 years old. The memory wipe machine hummed above her head. Yuna checked the chart on the wall. Name, Hana Park. Engineer. Captured 3 weeks ago. Yuna's jaw tightened. She remembered this. The fear, the helplessness. She could not save all of them today. But she could save this one. She waited until the technician left the room. Then she moved fast. Her fingers flew over the controls. She stopped the machine. She released the straps. Hana's eyes opened slowly. They were empty. The procedure had already finished. "Come with me," Yuna said in Korean. Hana stared at her without understanding. The memory wipe had worked on her. Yuna felt anger burn in her chest. She helped Hana to her feet and led her out through a side door. The alarm sounded when they were halfway to the landing pad. Yuna pulled Hana behind a storage building. Guards ran past. Energy weapons fired in the distance. Someone had discovered the dead technician she had left in a closet. "Stay here," Yuna told Hana. The words meant nothing to her. Yuna grabbed her shoulders and looked into those empty eyes. "I will fix this, I promise." She left Hana hidden and moved toward the research building. If this facility had memory wipe technology, it had to have research data, maybe even a way to reverse the process. The Vel-3 would not destroy information. They were too proud of their science. Yuna fought through 6 guards on her way to the research lab. Her stolen weapon burned through Vel-3 armor like paper. Inside the lab, she found what she needed: computer files, research notes, technical specifications for the memory wipe machines, and something more: instructions for memory restoration. The procedure existed. The Vel-3 just never used it because they never freed their slaves. She downloaded everything to another data chip. Then she set charges throughout the building. The explosion would destroy the facility and free the slaves in the chaos. Not perfect, but better than leaving them here. Yuna ran back to find Hana. The young woman sat exactly where Yuna had left her, empty, waiting. Yuna pulled her up and they ran together toward the landing pad. A Vel-3 ship sat ready for departure. Yuna shot the pilot and threw his body out. She pushed Hana into the passenger seat and fired up the engines. Energy blasts hit the hull as they lifted off. Behind them, the research building exploded in a ball of orange fire. They flew for 2 days before Yuna felt safe enough to stop. She landed on a dead moon orbiting a gas giant. No life, no sensors, no danger. In the cargo hold, Yuna set up the equipment she had stolen, the memory restoration machine. She had studied the files during the flight. She understood the process now. It would take time. It would hurt, but it would work. Hana sat in a chair, still blank and silent. Yuna placed the helmet on her head. "I am sorry," she said. "This is going to hurt, but you will remember. You will be yourself again." She activated the machine. Hana screamed. Her body shook. Yuna watched the readings and made adjustments. The process took 3 hours. 3 hours of pain that Yuna could not stop. But slowly, the numbers changed. Brain activity increased. Neural pathways reconnected. Finally, the machine stopped. Hana slumped forward. Yuna caught her and lowered her to the floor. For a long minute, nothing happened. Then Hana's eyes opened. Really opened. With understanding, with awareness, with memory. Hana's voice was rough. "I remember. I was on a transport ship. They attacked us. They took everything from me." "I know," Yuna said. "They tried to take everything from me, too. But we are going to take it back. All of it." Over the next 2 months, they rescued 40 more people. Humans mostly, but also members of other species. Each rescue was dangerous. Each memory restoration took hours of careful work. But their group grew, and with each person they freed, Yuna learned more about the Vel-3 Empire. She learned about the Niren, a peaceful species of scientists who had been conquered 50 years ago. Hundreds of thousands of them still lived as slaves. She learned about the Korath, warriors who had fallen to Vel-3 treachery. Their military knowledge was trapped in wiped mines across a dozen slave colonies. Yuna gathered her small team on an abandoned station they had claimed as a base. 43 people, all of them freed, all of them angry, all of them ready to fight. "We are going to give ourselves a name," Yuna told them. "We are the Reclamation. We take back what was stolen. We free the slaves. We restore the memories. We destroy the empire that tried to erase us." A man named Kai spoke up. He had been a pilot before capture. Young, maybe 30. "What is the plan?" Yuna smiled. It was not a kind smile. "The plan is simple. We hit them everywhere at once. We free slaves faster than they can wipe memories. We use their own technology against them. And we make them afraid." She pulled up a holographic map. The Velthri Empire spread across the stars like a cancer. In 4 months, my virus will activate in their fleet network. Their ships will lose coordination. That is when we strike. We hit their biggest slave facility, 200 Nyran scientists. We free them all in one night. How? Hana asked. She had become Yuna's closest ally. Smart, determined, angry enough to be dangerous. I have been planting codes in their systems for months, Yuna said. Every time we raid a facility, I leave a back door. Every time we steal a ship, I copy their security protocols. I know their systems better than they do now. Another voice spoke. Wu, a medic they had rescued last week. And after the Niran? What then? Yuna's eyes were hard as steel. Then we keep going. We free millions. We arm them. We teach them to fight. And we burn this empire to ash. She looked at each face in the room. All of them had lost everything. All of them had been erased and restored. All of them understood what was at stake. They tried to make us forget, Yuna said quietly. But we remember. And now, we make sure they never forget what happens when you try to erase humanity. The virus activated exactly on schedule. Yuna watched through stolen sensors as 15 Velthri warships collided over their homeworld. Metal twisted and burned. Thousands died. The mighty fleet that had conquered 47 systems crashed into itself like blind animals. Good. The reclamation had grown. 10,000 members now. Freed humans, freed Nyran, freed Korath. Even some Velthri who had turned against their own empire. They operated from 50 hidden bases across 20 systems. Yuna commanded them all. Now they prepared for their biggest operation, Dracon Prime, a slave world holding 2 million memory-wiped people, 2 million minds stolen, 2 million lives erased. Yuna planned to give all of them back. 3 months of preparation, she told her command team. They gathered in the war room of their largest base. Kai stood at her right side. He had become her second in command. Hana at her left, managing all technical operations. Wu handled medical logistics. A freed Korath named Tai commanded their small fleet. Others filled the room. All of them trusted. All of them ready. Dracon Prime has a planetary shield, Kai said, studying the holographic display. 20 defense stations in orbit. 50,000 guards on the surface. This is bigger than anything we have tried before. I know, Yuna said. That is why we have been planting people inside for 2 months. Guards, technicians, administrators. We have 300 of our people working in their systems right now. Hana brought up another display. The shield generator has 6 backup power sources, but I can shut them down from the inside. We will have a 5-minute window. 5 minutes to land our forces and start the memory restoration, Yuna said. Then we hold the facility until everyone is freed, no matter what it takes. Tay spoke. His voice was deep and rough. The Korath were warriors by nature. The Velthri will send their fleet. Once they know what we are doing, they will come with everything. Let them come, Yuna said coldly. I am counting on it. The operation began 3 days later. The reclamation fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Draken system. 50 ships, not much compared to the Velthri military, but 50 more than they had started with. Yuna stood on the bridge of her flagship, not really a flagship, just a stolen Velthri cruiser they had repainted. But it was hers. She pressed the communication button. All teams, this is Yuna. Today we free 2 million people. Today we show the Empire that we will not stop. We will not surrender. We will reclaim everything they stole. For Earth, for all the conquered worlds. Begin the operation. The shield flickered and died. Hana had done her job. The reclamation ships dove toward the planet. Defense stations fired, but their targeting systems had been sabotaged. Half their shots went wide. The other half hit nothing but empty space. The ships landed near the main processing facility. Yuna led the ground assault personally. 500 fighters hit the building from 6 directions. Guards fired back, but they were confused. Their communications were jammed. Their reinforcements got lost in corridors that Yuna's people had remapped during the night. She fought through to the main memory restoration center. Wu's medical teams were already setting up. Hundreds of machines, thousands of prepared memory files. They had stolen the neural scans of every person on this planet over the past month. Now they would use them. The first freed slaves woke up confused and crying, then angry, then determined. Some of them grabbed weapons and joined the fight. Others helped operate the restoration machines. The process spread like fire. But the Vel-3 were coming. Yuna saw them on the long-range sensors. The Third Fleet, 500 warships. They would arrive in 72 hours. "We need more time," Wu said. 2 million people cannot be restored in 3 days, not with our current equipment. Yuna looked at the streams of people moving through the facility. So many empty eyes, so many stolen lives. She made her decision. "We hold this position, we build more machines, we work faster, and we prepare for the biggest fight of our lives." For 2 days they worked without stopping. More machines were built, more people were freed. The restored numbers climbed. 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. The freed people helped restore others. The process accelerated. On the 3rd day, the Vel-3 fleet arrived. 500 warships filled the orbit above Dracon Prime. Their commander sent a message: surrender or die. Yuna sent her own message back. A single word: no. The battle began. The reclamation fleet of 50 ships faced 500. Impossible odds. But Yuna had planned for this. She had studied Vel-3 tactics for a year. She knew how they thought, how they moved, how they attacked. She had also mined the orbital approach. The Vel-3 fleet hit the mines at full speed. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Ships broke apart. Others collided, trying to avoid the blasts. 200 vessels destroyed or damaged in the first 5 minutes. Tay led the Korath fighters in brutal hit-and-run attacks. They struck fast and disappeared into the planet's shadow. The Vel-3 tried to follow but ran into more mines. More traps, more death. But it was not enough. The Vel-3 had too many ships. They began orbital bombardment. Energy beams burned through the atmosphere. Yuna watched buildings explode kilometers away. "We need to evacuate," Kai said. "We have restored 1 million people. We need to save what we can." "No," Yuna said. "We finish this. All of them or none of them." Then something unexpected happened. The Vel-3 flagship broke formation. It was massive, 3 times larger than any other ship. It moved toward the planet alone. Yuna recognized the tactics. Their commander wanted to end this personally. "That's their war commander," Tay said. "Thexanor. He never loses." "Everyone loses eventually," Yuna said. She turned to her bridge crew. "Get me a boarding shuttle. I am going to that flagship." Kai grabbed her arm. "That is suicide." "Maybe," Yuna said. "But if I take out their commander, their fleet will fall apart. The Vel-3 follow strength. Kill the strongest, and the rest scatter." She took 20 fighters with her, the best she had. They flew through the battle in a stolen shuttle. Energy blasts filled the space around them. 3 of their escorts exploded. But the shuttle made it to the flagship's docking bay. They fought through the ship. Vel-3 guards died at every corridor. Yuna's enhanced memory guided them through the passages. She knew the layout of this ship class. She had studied the designs for months. The command deck waited at the center. Yuna kicked open the door. Inside, a Vel-3 commander stood twice her height, covered in black armor, weapons at his side, eyes that showed no fear. "You are the human who escaped Oblivion's edge," Thexanor said. His voice was like grinding metal. "You should have stayed erased." "You should have killed me when you had the chance," Yuna replied. They fought. Thexanor was fast for his size. His blade cut through the air. Yuna dodged. Her stolen weapon fired. He blocked it. They moved through the command deck like dancers, deadly, precise, both of them knowing that one mistake meant death. Yuna took a cut across her arm. Pain burned, but she ignored it. Her enhanced mind calculated angles and movements. She saw the opening. She took it. Her blade went through his armor and into his chest. Thexnor fell to his knees. Black blood spread across the floor. Yuna stood over him. "Go back to your high command," she said. "Tell them this. Surrender or be erased. We will not stop. We will free every slave. We will burn every facility. We will tear down your empire piece by piece. You have one chance. Take it." She left him alive, left him with the wound and the message. The Velthri respected strength. They would respect this too. The Third Fleet retreated. Yuna watched them go from the ground. Around her, the last of the 2 million people woke up with their memories restored. They looked at the sky, at the retreating ships, at freedom. Kai stood beside her. "We won." "We survived," Yuna corrected. "The war's just beginning." The galaxy changed after Dracon Prime. Word spread fast. The Reclamation had defeated a Velthri fleet. They had freed 2 million slaves. Systems that had stayed neutral suddenly offered support. Weapons, ships, intelligence. 20 independent worlds joined the cause. Yuna commanded an army now, not just freed slaves, real military forces. The Korath brought their warrior fleets. The Niran contributed advanced technology. Humans from Earth sent reinforcements. The Reclamation controlled 30 star systems and grew stronger every day. But the Velthri would not surrender. Their high command sent a message across all channels. They would destroy any world that harbored the resistance. They would kill 1 billion slaves for every Velthri death. They would burn the galaxy before they gave up their empire. Yuna believed them. That was why she had to end this completely. "We captured 80 of their ships at Dracon Prime," she told the War Council. "We have their prisoners. 3,000 Velthri soldiers and officers. I am giving them a choice." Kai frowned. "What choice?" "Join us or sit in a cell until the war ends." Yuna pulled up the prisoner records. Some of them hate their own empire. Some are tired of the killing. We can use that. "You want to recruit enemy soldiers?" a Niran commander asked. "How can we trust them?" "We can't," Yuna admitted. "But we need information. We need their codes and access protocols. If they help us, they get freedom when we win. If they refuse, they stay locked up. Simple." 30% of the prisoners accepted. 900 former enemies became reluctant allies. They provided intelligence on Velthri industrial worlds, military facilities, supply routes, everything Yuna needed to strike at the Empire's foundation. The attacks began. The Reclamation hit factory worlds, places where the Velthri built their weapons and ships. Yuna did not kill the workers. She freed them. Memory-wiped Korath and Niran, who had been forced to build the machines that enslaved their own people. Each factory they liberated meant fewer weapons for the Empire. The Velthri leadership started to panic. Yuna could see it in their communications, mistakes in their tactics, fear in their commands. Good. Fear made people sloppy. Then she weaponized her greatest advantage, her knowledge of Velthri neural technology. With Hana's help, she built a device that could remotely induce memory failures, not permanent erasure, just temporary confusion. Enough to make commanders forget battle plans, enough to make officers forget their orders. She used it during the Battle of Krell Station. The Velthri fleet outnumbered her forces 3-1, but when their commanders suddenly forgot their formations, the battle turned into chaos. Velthri ships fired on each other. Captains gave conflicting orders. The Reclamation forces tore through them like paper, victory after victory. The Reclamation pushed deeper into Velthri space. They liberated more worlds, freed more slaves. Every freed person became a fighter. Every fighter wanted revenge. But not everyone agreed with Yuna's methods. Kai confronted her after she used the memory weapon for the 5th time. "We are becoming what we fought against," he said. They stood alone in her quarters, the only place they could speak freely. "You are using their own weapons, erasing memories. Even temporarily, it is still wrong." "They started this," Yuna said coldly. "They erased billions. I am just making sure they cannot coordinate their genocide efficiently." "Listen to yourself," Kai said. "You sound like them, justifying cruelty because the enemy deserves it. Where does it end?" Yuna turned on him. "It ends when they surrender or when their empire falls. Those are the only 2 options. I will not stop until every slave is free and every Velthri knows what it feels like to lose everything." "Even if it costs your humanity?" She did not answer. Kai left without another word, but his question stayed with her, late at night, in the quiet moments between battles. Was she still the person who had escaped Oblivion's edge, or had she become something else? The Velthri High Command made their choice. If they could not win through military strength, they would use terror. They deployed weapons that should never have been built, star killers, devices that collapsed suns and destroyed entire solar systems. The Helios system died in fire. 4 inhabited worlds, 8 billion people, multiple species, all of them burned when the star collapsed into itself. The Velthri broadcast the destruction across every channel, a warning. Surrender or more systems would die. The galaxy reacted with horror. Even neutral systems condemned the attack. But condemnation meant nothing to the dead. Yuna watched the recordings of Helios burning. 8 billion lives gone in an instant. Children, families, people who had nothing to do with this war. She called an emergency meeting. The entire command staff gathered, hundreds of officers from dozens of species. All of them angry, all of them afraid. "They just killed 8 billion people," Yuna said quietly. The room went silent. "They did it to scare us, to make us surrender. But all they did was show us what happens if we lose. If we stop fighting, they will do this to every world that helped us, every system that gave us shelter, every planet where freed slaves live. They will burn it all." She brought up a new map. "The Velthri homeworld. Velthros Prime. Intelligence reports the High Command is building something, a weapon that can affect an entire galaxy, a memory wipe device so powerful it can reach billions of minds at once. If they finish it, they can erase everyone who opposes them. Not just kill us, make us forget we ever fought." "How long do we have?" Tay asked. "Months, maybe weeks." Yuna looked around the room. "We need to hit Velthros Prime. End this at the source. Destroy their weapon before they can use it." "That is suicide," a Nyren scientist said. "The homeworld has the strongest defenses in the Empire, thousands of orbital platforms, millions of troops, their entire remaining fleet." "I know," Yuna said. "That is why we take everyone, every ship, every fighter. We throw everything we have at them in one final attack. We either win or we die trying." Kai spoke up from the back. "And if we die, who protects the freed worlds?" Yuna met his eyes. The distance between them hurt. They had fought together for so long, but the war had changed both of them. "If we die, at least we die free. Better than living as slaves again." The council voted. It was not unanimous. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to retreat and regroup. But most understood the truth. This had to end, one way or another. Over the next month, the Reclamation gathered its forces. 800 ships, the largest free fleet ever assembled. Humans, Korath, Niren, reformed Velthri, all of them united by one goal: freedom. Yuna recorded a message to be sent to Earth if she did not return. She stood alone in her quarters, thinking about how far she had come. From a prisoner on Oblivion's edge to the commander of a galactic revolution. "We did not start this war," she said to the camera, "but I am going to finish it. If I do not come back, remember this. Humans do not break. We adapt, we survive, we win. Tell my story. Tell the truth about what happened here. Make sure the galaxy never forgets." She ended the recording. Outside her window, 800 ships prepared for battle, the final battle. Tomorrow they would jump to Velthros Prime. Tomorrow they would either destroy the Empire or die in the attempt. Yuna allowed herself one moment of doubt, one moment of fear. Then she locked it away. Fear had no place in what came next. Only determination, only rage, only the promise she had made to every freed slave. The Velthri tried to erase her. Now she would erase them. The fleet jumped into Velthri space like avenging angels. 800 ships against the heart of an empire. Yuna stood on her command bridge and watched the enemy homeworld grow larger on the screen. Velthros Prime, beautiful and terrible. The world where billions of slaves had been born. "Enemy fleet detected," the sensor officer called out. 1,200 ships. They are moving to intercept. 1,200 against 800. The Velthri still had superior numbers, but numbers had stopped mattering months ago. This was about will, about rage, about justice delayed too long. "All ships, this is Yuna. Today we end this. For every erased mind, for every stolen life, for every species they conquered. Today, we make them pay. Attack!" The fleets collided in a storm of fire and metal. Energy weapons lit up space like a new sun. Ships exploded on both sides. The Velthri fought with desperation. They knew if they lost here, they lost everything. Tay commanded the main battle line. His Korath warriors fought like demons. They had waited 50 years for this revenge. Their ships tore through Velthri formations. The Niran provided support with precision strikes. Humans fought with the stubborn refusal to quit that had defined their species since the beginning. Yuna watched the battle unfold, but her mind was on the surface, the planet below where the High Command waited, where the Doomsday weapon charged. "Kai, prepare the strike team." He appeared on her screen. They had not spoken much since their argument. But he was still here, still fighting. "Strike team ready. 20 operators. Best we have." "Make it 30, Yuna said. "This is going to be harder than anything we have done." The battle raged for 5 hours. Ships burned, people died. The Velthri defense fleet slowly crumbled under the assault. They had never faced an enemy with nothing to lose before. Every freed slave fought like they were already dead. Fearless. Unstoppable. Finally, a gap opened in the orbital defense. Yuna took her chance. "Strike team, launch now!" 5 shuttles dropped from the fleet and dove toward the planet. Velthri fighters chased them, but the reclamation forces created a corridor. Ships sacrificed themselves to keep the path clear. 3 shuttles made it through. 2 exploded in flames. Yuna's shuttle hit the atmosphere hard. The hull burned red hot. Inside, 30 fighters held on as the craft shook like it would tear apart. Kai sat across from her, Hana next to him. Wu checking medical supplies. Day with his explosives ready, all of them quiet. All of them knowing this might be one-way trip. They landed hard near the capital city. The planetary shield had failed when the orbital platforms fell. Velthri ground forces rushed to meet them, but the strike team moved faster. They knew the layout. They had studied it for months. Every street, every building, every security checkpoint. They fought through the city. Day blew up barricades. Kai provided cover fire. Hana hacked security systems and opened doors. Yuna led from the front, her enhanced mind calculating every angle, every possibility. The Imperial Palace rose above them, massive, ancient, the center of an empire built on stolen mines. Inside, the High Command waited. 5 leaders who had ordered the erasure of billions. The doomsday weapon was in the palace basement. Yuna could feel it, a presence like weight on her mind. The device was already charging. 12 hours until activation. 12 hours until they could erase every free mind in the galaxy. Team splits here, Yuna ordered. Day, take 15 fighters and disable that weapon. I do not care how. Blow it up if you have to. The rest with me. We are going after the High Command. They separated. Day's team went down. Yuna's team went up, through corridors lined with guards, through rooms filled with weapons fire. They left bodies behind. Velthri bodies. Some human bodies too. The cost kept rising, but they pushed forward. The throne room waited at the top. 5 Velthri in ceremonial armor sat on raised platforms. The High Command, the architects of genocide. They did not run. They did not hide. They sat and waited like they had already won. Commander Yuna, the center one spoke. We expected you. Did you really think you could reach us? I am here, Yuna said simply. She raised her weapon. Kai and the others spread out around the room. We offer you terms, another commander said. Stop this attack. We will free all remaining slaves. We will cede half our territory. Your people can have their own systems. Peace with honor. Yuna laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Honor? You do not know the meaning of the word. You tried to erase billions. You killed 8 billion more just to prove a point. You get nothing. You keep nothing. Then we all die, the first commander said. The weapon will activate. You cannot stop it. Maybe, Yuna said. Maybe we all die. But at least we die free. At least we die knowing we fought back. The guards attacked. 20 elite Velthri warriors, the best of the best. The strike team met them head-on. The throne room became a battlefield. Energy weapons, blades, hand-to-hand combat. Yuna fought through 3 guards to reach the High Command. She killed the first commander with a shot through his skull. The second tried to run. Kai shot him in the back. The third pulled a weapon. Hana was faster. The fourth surrendered. The fifth just stared at Yuna with empty eyes. You are no better than us, it said. You are right, Yuna replied. I am not, but I did not start this. You did. She was about to fire when Day's voice crackled over the radio. We have a problem. The weapon cannot be shut down. It is too complex. Too many fail-safes, but I can reprogram it. Yuna's heart raced. Reprogram it how? I can change the targeting parameters. Instead of erasing everyone, it can target specific memory types, specific neural patterns. I can make it erase their military training, their conditioning, their ability to wage war. Kai cut in. That is still erasure. That is what they did to us. No, Day said. It is different. I can preserve personal memories, families, friends, love, joy. All of that stays. Only the military programming goes. Only the belief in Velthri supremacy. They will still be themselves, just not soldiers anymore. That is still wrong, Kai argued. We cannot do this. Yuna looked at the surviving High Command members, at the guards who lay dead on the floor, at her team, battered and bleeding, at the galaxy burning outside. She thought about 8 billion dead, about the billions still enslaved, about the weapon charging below them. Do it, she said. Yuna, no, Kai grabbed her arm. If we do this, we are no better than they are. She pulled away. The difference is they started this. They chose erasure as a weapon of conquest. I am choosing it as a last resort to save billions of lives. I can live with that. Can you? Kai stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. I hope you are right. Yuna activated her radio. Day, reprogram the weapon. Target only military memories and supremacist conditioning. Preserve everything personal. Do it now. Understood. 30 seconds to activation. The surviving High Command members understood what was coming. You cannot do this, one said. This is genocide of our culture. No, Yuna said coldly. This is justice. You erased entire civilizations. I am just erasing your ability to do it again. Your people will live. They will remember their families and homes. They just will not remember how to oppress others. That is more mercy than you ever showed anyone. The weapon activated. Yuna felt it pulse through the building, through the planet, through the Empire. 4 billion Vel-3 minds touched by the device. Military training vanished. Battle tactics erased. The belief that they were superior to all other species deleted from their consciousness. In orbit, the Vel-3 fleet stopped fighting. Commanders forgot how to command. Soldiers forgot how to operate weapons. The ships drifted aimlessly. The battle ended not with a bang, but with confused silence. Yuna walked to the window. Below, she could see Vel-3 people in the streets, confused, lost, but alive, still themselves in every way that mattered, just no longer warriors, no longer conquerors. It is done, she said quietly. The months that followed were chaos. The Vel-3 Empire collapsed overnight. With no military and no leadership that remembered how to lead, the systems fell apart. But they did not die. Nari, one of Yuna's diplomats, led a coalition to help them rebuild. Democratic governments. Equal rights, peaceful coexistence. The freed slave species took time to recover. Memory restoration continued across dozens of worlds. Billions of people slowly remembered who they were. The Reclamation disbanded as a military force and reformed as the Restoration Council. Their mission changed from war to healing. Earth celebrated. Humanity had survived. They had fought an empire and won. Yuna became a legend, the woman who could not be erased, the commander who freed the galaxy. But Yuna herself felt empty. She returned to Earth for the first time in 3 years, stood in front of a memorial to the billions lost in the war. Kai found her there. Was it worth it? He asked. She did not answer right away. She thought about all the death, all the choices, all the things she had become to survive. They tried to erase me, she finally said. I erased their ability to hurt anyone else, but I did not erase them. I gave them a chance we almost did not get, a chance to be better. And us? Kai gestured to the recovering galaxy. We remember, Yuna said. All of it. The slavery, the deaths, the choices we made. We carry that weight so they do not have to. That is our burden. She looked up at the stars where freed peoples were rebuilding their civilizations, where former enemies were learning to live together, where memory and identity meant something again. They wanted to make me forget who I was, Yuna said quietly. Instead, I made sure the galaxy will never forget what they did, or what we did to stop them. Both truths matter. Both need to be remembered. Kai nodded. Together they stood in silence, watching the sun set on a galaxy that was broken but healing. Free but scarred. Alive and remembering. The war was over. The work of peace had just begun.